Ever dominate a set so much and then all of a sudden everything go completely wrong in your match? So that's right guys, today I'm going to be going over another match with you guys. It was a crazy one. Believe it or not, I started out with a crazy first set lead and then everything went south. So today we're going to dive into what exactly happened here and how you guys can learn from it and how I have learned from it as well. So let's really jump into it here. Starting with the first set. My serve, this is what my game really evolves around, and maybe that's what your game does too, or maybe it's another stroke. In the first set, I was serving at 65%. What was the score? 6-0. I was doing a great job of making my opponent play on the return. I was mixing up the spins, the placements. Low key, my opponent was really struggling on the return here, and that's what happens when you serve well with a high percentage and a good mix of spins and placements. 6-0 is what happened here. But this is where things start to get interesting. The second set is where my serve kind of goes for a crap. The percentage of my first serve goes down to 48%. So first thing to note, notice how I stopped mixing up those kick serves. That's one thing I did a great job in the first set. And overall, just my serve went down in the second set. Missed more first serves, missed more flat serves. Didn't do a great job of really just rolling it in to build that consistency and confidence. We're gonna take a quick break here. I wanna show you guys what we have been working on here at MP Tennis. This little source is free of charge from us, so I'm really excited to show you guys this worksheet that will help you guys perform better in matches. So what this is a little formula, a little worksheet to help you guys understand your playing style and how you can play against certain opponents. So if you're interested in learning more, please find the link in the description and you guys can get this free worksheet now. Also, you can see now how predictable my return position was. If we're not talking about serve here anymore, the return positioning, I was standing, mid to far on the serve. Even though he didn't have a hard serve, I was giving myself some time to hit a quality return back in the first set. Gave me a lot of success on that. I was able to take advantage of that. Even though he didn't have a powerful serve, I'm able to get a good grip on the ball in the first set. But now my return positioning is getting predictable. He knows that's what I'm going to do. He's expecting it. And the last thing here, notice how I'm not really attacking off my forehand wing. In the first set, I was really going after my forehand, dictating with it, making him move around, playing to his weaker side, punishing his short balls. But now I'm kind of pushing a little bit. I'm not being as aggressive. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is even when you're winning, you need to adapt. At a certain level in tennis, people are going to realize what they're doing wrong and they're going to try and fix it mid-match. And at the level I'm at, we're playing D1 Stonehill here. These guys are going to be able to adapt on number one single. So I need to adapt more and better in the future and know what my opponent is trying to do to combat what he's doing poor so that I can change my game to keep the pressure on. Now let's talk about like the mental game and also the energy breakdown. One thing that I noticed post-match is I may have been a little bit of a happy camper, and we'll get into what that means after. But also my energy was a little bit low. I will knock myself on that. I don't think the prep for this match as far as food intake was great, so I need to do a better job of that in the future. Normally I'm very good at that, but the way a match was laid out today, the way the travel schedule worked out, I did not do a good enough job, and I think that's why I ultimately lost, or it's a big part of it. What does happy camper mean? If you guys are familiar with Brad Gilbert's Winning Ugly book, happy camper essentially means when you come out into the start of a match or a second set, third set, however many sets you're playing, after you have won a set, you can't be happy out there. You need to be quote unquote a wounded bear, which means you're out to hunt, you're out to kill, you're out to win. And sometimes players, myself here a little bit this day that we're talking about in this match, may have had a little bit of that happy camper syndrome. Maybe I'll just rally here and there. If my opponent wins a couple points, it's okay, but really I need to step on my opponent's throat and really get back to work here in the second set. So maybe a little bit of happy camper syndrome here. So now we're gonna take a look at something else here. We're gonna look at my Whoop data. So I've actually just got a Whoop here last month. thinking about sharing more on the channel. If this is what you guys want to see, I will share more of it on the channel. Maybe there's an opportunity for you guys to get a free Whoop yourselves and use a code. Still going to work on that here, but let's look at my heart rate data. The data showed I spent over half the match in the high heart rate zones, but barely recovered in between points. So here's also some changes that I'm going to make here in my training to help me do a little bit better. Although this data is very normal, I've checked in with my physical trainers. You know, when you're at this period in a match, you know, it is tough to recover at times, especially considering the food intake to take into account. The body will go into overdrive mode. It will start pulling fat and protein sources instead of carb sources. I did not have enough carbs this day, and that's really important. But with that said, if you are someone that needs to improve your recovery in points, it's important to focus on interval-based training. That is something that will help you in points in matches. Tennis is very interval-based. You go on, you have a little break, you have a little break. You go on, you have a little break. Sometimes it's a long point, that break is still the same. So that's why interval-based training will help tennis players a lot. Also, another thing to take into account, which I do already do a good job at, but will continue to prove as, is continue to work on my aerobic-based exercise. So this is low forms of cardio on the bike, elliptical, walking, low impact kind of jogging for longer periods of time, which will help you out on court for longer durations. And some other little things that I'll throw in here for tidbits. I feel like I do a good job, but to more help you guys on pre-match little routines. If you feel like you're not rested, eat as much as possible, drink as much as possible, maybe have a little pre-game power nap. A lot of my teammates actually do that, and it works very well for them. I struggle with the naps just because I like to really stay awake during the match day, but that's just me. I'm weird like that. And yeah, just back to the food, make sure you're really timing your meals, you're eating appropriately. And this is one thing I did not do a good enough job on this day. All right, so what is the bottom line here? I need to do better. I need to be better at the pre-match prep here. I need to make sure I'm eating properly. I need to pay more attention to this heart rate stuff, continue to work on my fitness. This stuff will continue to get better. Not be a happy camper, step on the throat here after a 6-0 set. And more on the tennis side here, like we talked about earlier, mix up the return position. Don't go for too many flat serves. Mix up the slices and the spins still. That's something I did a really good job at in the first set. And if a game plan is working, keep working with it, but know that if your opponent makes changes and begins to adapt, that means that you need to do the same thing. You know, if you look at pros, they play, the guys, they play 3 out of 5 sets. The guy isn't going to keep going to the same pattern for 4 hours. It's just not possible because the level is so high and the guys are so smart. They're going to find a way to combat that. And then the other guy that has started this pattern needs to make changes, whether this is off the ground stroke or on the serve or the return or whatever it may be. You need to be able to adapt out here. That's very important and something that I really need to work on. So I guess with that said, every match you're able to take something out of it. This is what I learned from this match. I'm really trying to analyze my matches here now. It's my last year of college. More tennis to come, of course, but really want to try and analyze to see what I can do better and see where opponents are exposing me. Where do I actually expose myself, if that makes any sense? And yeah, just trying to learn from myself and my own mistakes, and you guys can do that too. So I hope this video was of help to you all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Come on.